Me, Robert Pattinson and Emilie De Ravin star as a couple coping with personal tragedies who realize sometimes you have to skip to the best part. Take a look.
What desserts do you have?
Mango ice cream with nuts and raisins.
Great. I'll have that and a glass of skim milk, and then the lamb vindaloo. Thanks.
Oh, can I have a chicken tikka masala and a kingfisher, please?
I have my dessert first.
Oh, is that a political statement or a medical condition, perhaps?
I just don't see the point in waiting.
Oh, please welcome Robert Pattinson and Emilie De Ravin. Wow, welcome, guys.
Hi.
You know, this is so funny. Emilie, I have to ask you this because you filmed Remember Me on the streets of New York, and if it was even a third of this, I mean, you had screaming fans everywhere for Robert. How'd you guys even manage to do it?
I don't know, did we? Focus, just try and really, block it out.
Yeah, it must have been just weird having all the, you know, because we have a girl here in the audience and she was just shaking. And when she had to announce, she's just shaking.
She has been for a while.
Well, speaking of shaking. Are you used to this yet, this kind of madness?
I guess so. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, it's kind of towards your question. I mean, you know, you have all this craziness around you, and when you're shooting little movies like this, I mean, loads of people turn up, and there's no spectacle
Yeah,
to
but
be.
you can't walk in the street.
You can. I mean, you have to, you know. I take on kind of weird, like, facial mannerisms and stuff. And you're like walking out, it's like, and that's kind of all right. And also, maybe they just recognize you and just cross the street anyway.
Well, they don't recognize you without your fangs. That may be F-A-N-G-S. But I went to see this. By the way, we should point out. You're from England, you're Australia, but you speak as Americans. You have American accents because you're playing American. But this is a family affair, and your whole family came today with you. I think that's so sweet. Here's Mommy, beautiful Mommy, right there. So wave your hand, Uncle, and your two lovely sisters. Yeah, do you go everywhere with him? Just nod your no. Well, we're delighted to have you. We're very happy to have you here. I went to see this film. I had no idea what to expect. You're wonderful in it.
Thank you very much.
And I know it's a different challenge. I mean, you're on Lost, and we see you as this superb actress. But there must have been some feeling after I've been doing The Vampire, after I've been doing the Twilight films, am I going to be accepted in this? I just want to tell you, I thought you were like James Dean. I just thought you were a wonderful actor. You should feel very good. Because it's a tough role, and you do it. But were you concerned that you would not be accepted?
No, I mean, I read the script and kind of fell in love with it just before all the Twilight hoopla happened. I mean, the film hadn't come out yet, and I very rarely read scripts which appeal to me. And I thought it reminded me of pieces like back in the 70s and 80s, like kind of Ordinary People and Terms of Endearment and stuff like that. And I don't think they really make movies like that anymore. And yeah, so I wanted to do it.
Let's talk about the Spread in Details magazine. You're surrounded by naked women.
It's just my life. It's just my life.
Is your mom sitting here? How is that? It's got to be a little typical.
Excuse me, did I make this up, or did I read that you said something about vaginas? I didn't make it up, did I? No. Would you like to discuss that?
I learned two things from that interview. There's like one thing, never try and make jokes in printed interviews ever, and the other thing is like just never do interviews ever. I mean, that's
right. Look what you just got into.
I know, and you have to just spend ages answering it afterwards. It's like,
you were joking.
No, it's actually a physical. I do have an actual allergy. It's terrible. It's a bane. It's a curse.
Emilie, I want to ask you too. Hundreds.
Yeah, change the subject. Let's go to Emilie.
Because his mom's here. Emilie, hundreds of women auditioned for this role, but when you came on, there was obvious chemistry with the two of you there in the audition. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because everyone did know you from Lost, and now this role, I mean,
Tell us about the
unreal.
audition. We like to hear about
the chemistry. Was it
How it
right
all
away?
came
I mean, you
about.
had auditioned with many others, I assume, Robert, right? And then when Emilie came on, was it just perfect?
She was the last one who came in.
The very last one.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, it was interesting because we hadn't spoken. I'd spoken to Alan, our director, and so I didn't know how you were playing Tyler, and well, I guess you'd seen my tape, so you kind of knew, but not really.
I'd seen like 15 seconds of her audition tape where like Alan, the director, had called me up and said, I've got this great girl, she's really interesting, and she's kind of got a different energy about her. And I was in Italy filming one of the Twilight films, and I had a really, really slow internet connection. I only saw the first 15 seconds of this thing, and she was kind of like, I think they just started recording without realizing, and she didn't know they were recording, and so she wasn't doing the scene. And I was like, wow, this girl's got balls. Like she's like just making the whole scene up. Like, I was like, she's different to everyone else.
That's nice. They snuck it up on you. That's good.
Yeah, it's always better when you sort of see like how someone
Why
is.
do you say you look like a cartoon character? That's so cute. I don't think you look like. Do you think he looks like a cartoon? He says
No,
it.
I told you what I thought. But you know, you have a chemistry. You have a chemistry here, the two of you, and you certainly do in the film. It's a love story, and it has some. I don't want to make it sound grim, but you both have had terrible tragedies in your life, and your character Tyler is someone trying to find himself, a little lost, and everything hasn't been up for you in your life. And you said you can identify with Tyler. In what ways?
I think in a lot of ways. I mean, the lucky thing is, I mean, sometimes you just read a script and you can hear a voice in it, and you can, there's just something about it which is almost unexplainable to everyone else. But
Did you feel lost at one point, or?
I mean, I think everyone feels lost. But I mean, I think the good thing about the story, I guess in a lot of ways it's kind of, it's about accepting being lost. I mean, and kind of finding the positive sides of it. I mean, if you're not lost, then you're kind of, there are plenty of people who just go to work every day.
When were you lost?
I was trying to find a bar the other night. Ended up by the Hudson, freezing cold.
Downtown Manhattan is like a maze. I'm sure you were downtown.
I was thinking of having read about you when you were going to give up acting and everything, but we can talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, I was going to give it up just mainly because, it's a very difficult thing to do. When you haven't trained to be an actor and you haven't, spent your whole life going into it, and then you're doing auditions and not getting them, you're like, well, what am I doing? If I'm not getting auditions, then if I'm not getting parts, then I'm not an actor. I mean, it's like, that's how I was judging it.
Oh.
Well, Robert, Emilie, stick around, okay? Because we got some more stuff that we want to ask you. So more with Robert Pattinson and Emilie De Ravin when we come back. This is